Previously on the vMix Funtime live show behind the scenes. Have we done a show this month? No. Cry when I read my YouTube comments. August really felt like a penguin-y kind of month. Nonsense intro videos, studio. Martin really has no idea. This is something that keeps me happy. So Alien Dance Party featuring Dancing Rat. So I'm gonna grab one of these. It's alive, get a seat. So here I am, ready to go for the vMix Funtime live show studio. Usually we just pick up last month's preset, but I'm going to be starting from scratch. It's been a long time since I've started from scratch on a production preset, so this could be very interesting. If you see me doing wrong things or I've forgotten stuff, just yell out at the monitor telling me I've done the wrong thing. Hopefully I pick them all up by the end of the production. We're gonna follow the 3 rules of live streaming to test, and test again. So hopefully I get it all right. This is my way of doing things. This is not a professional production way of doing things. This is how I set up the vMix Funtime live show. So bear with me and my mistakes. So as you can see here, we've got a bunch of different year folders of all the vMix Funtime live shows that we've done on this PC and hard drive here. As you can see, it's all broken down into years, and I've got months and that kind of stuff in here. I like to keep assets in a particular folder that I reuse all the time, intro videos, titles, all that kind of stuff. And then each month I'll create a new folder with all of the different assets that we use in that particular month. So I've moved these across from my local computer and the network to this hard drive. So it's important to have this on your local hard drive and not using a network store or something. All right, so here we are in vMix. We've got a 1080 2997 production ready to go. This is what we do every month. This is how we stream to YouTube. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna add our cameras. So I'm gonna be mainly using this front camera here, but I'll add these other 2 just to show you how you can do it. Because I put that on the setup image, I should probably include them as well. So it's the AJA input 1. I'm gonna set this to 2997 and then click OK. And there we go. We now have a camera in our production. So this is going to be my main camera that I use for the production. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this camera 1 so I don't forget. Camera 1 is what I'm going to be calling it. All right, so now I'm just gonna add the other 2. So I'm just gonna go into camera and put 2. I don't have any audio embedded on these, so I don't need to worry about that. If you have audio embedded, you can set the audio input coming in. You can turn on audio enabled if you wanted to, but no audio coming through here. We're just going to be using the microphones for that. So as you can see, I've now got cameras here and there. I'm not going to be using them, so I'm just going to close them down like so. So now I have camera 1 ready in my production. Now I'm not going to be using this green screen behind me. I don't want a green background. I want to replace it with something. So what I need to do now is go into the settings and then go into the color key section, select it, and then use the eyedropper here to select a good sort of a darker green that I've got here. And then what we like to do is just use the automatic Chroma Key presets here. Number 2 usually works the best for most people. And so that's I can adjust it if I needed to, but that's fairly good. And so now I've got a Chroma Keyed image of myself. So what I need to do now is start building up my main shot that I'm going to be using for the production, which is going to include a backdrop, myself, and other things as well. So I'm going to go to, in here, I'm going to go to blank. So it's going to create a blank input. I could also go to add input and color, or I could add an input, so my background image, and then start layering on top of that. But I'm going to select this here, go to multi-view, which is the layers section, and it'll allow me to start adding different layers to the production. So on the second layer here, I'm going to add my camera. So now on the second layer, I've got a camera, but I don't have anything to put behind me, so I need to start bringing in some of my other assets. All right, so I'm gonna go to add input, and then I'm gonna go to image down here. I browse this, and I'm gonna find this background here. Click OK. And now I have my background image in my production. So what I can do now is go back in here, go to the first layer, and then select better background. And I now have this shot here. So this is now going to be the vMix Funtime live show shot that I'm going to be using. And it's always a good idea to rename them so you know what you're going to be using. So I like to call this main shot. It gives me an idea of that's the main shot that I'm going to be using in my production. All right, so I can just minimize that as well. All right, so what do we need as well? We also need a little image thing that goes in the top right-hand corner here. So I'm gonna go to add input, title. Let's see if it's in this recent section. It is. It's called What Is This? So we're going to add this to the production in the top right hand corner. So we go back to this main shot here, go to the multi-view, find my layer, and I'm going to chuck this in the top right hand corner. So now I've got my main shot. This is all ready to go. Now I've got my main shot, I've got my background behind me, I've got my camera, and I've got my spinny thingo up here. Now we need to go through and work out all of the other assets that we have in our production. Now, because I've got everything in this folder here, for the video files and images and that sort of thing, titles, I can just drag those directly into my production instead of going through one by one each time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to work out which ones that I need. I think I need banana titles, Facebook winner, outro, and I've already added what is this. So I'm just gonna drag this into my production like so. Now you can obviously do that one by one if you wanted to, but I'm just trying to make it as quick as possible today. So let's close this down now. As you can see, I've now got pretty much all of the assets that I'm gonna need in my production. So video files, images, all that kind of stuff. Now I usually like to lay out my production setup sort of in the order that I'm going to use it, just so if I do need to go to a particular input for some reason, I know where it's roughly going to be. Again, you can use these categories as well if you wanted to quickly jump between them and split them up. I don't often do that. I usually just like to have it in front of me, but that's just me. People are different, surprisingly enough. So the first thing that I do need to order is the montage. So the montage is the video that we play prior to the actual show. We'll let it play for a couple of minutes and then we'll go through and use that. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drag this montage one up to the corner. So my montage video, I want it to loop because it's something that we don't have an end for. We just play it until we wanna start streaming. And in the settings here, if we go to general, we probably wanna automatically restart it and automatically mix audio as well. So a lot of the times I'll just like to remove these .mp4s as well. So that's my montage video. So now it's going to be playing and it's going to loop when it gets to the end. It's just going to cycle back through again, which is what I want for my production. So that's my montage video done. So I think that's all I need to worry about for my montage video. Now, next of all, I have my intro video. So I have my intro video here and I put a lot of triggers on that. So triggers allow you to automate certain things in vMix based on that input. So what I can do for my intro video, when I play it, I can turn on my microphone, I can start recording, I can overlay titles, all that kind of stuff can be done on a trigger. So I'm gonna go in now and set that up. So I'm gonna click on this here. I'm just gonna change this to intro. I always like to change the names of my inputs when I add them, just because we've been doing this for years and I know what specific things are called. So I'm just gonna call that intro. Then I'm also going to automatically restart on transition, just in case we don't have it at the start. So then I want to go to triggers. And okay, so on the triggers, what I want to do is when it starts, so on transition in, I want it to start my recording. So let's go start recording and then add that. So now when it starts, the record's gonna start. So when we do a live show, we usually have it so that we do a pre-show and then we have our montage video, we do a full show, we record that exact show, and then we have another like 30 minutes or so after that where we just chat about certain things. So if you want to catch all of it, you have to watch live, but if you just want the show, then that gets uploaded to YouTube. So we set triggers to start and stop the show automatically so we don't have to worry about it. So there are another couple of triggers that we want to set up on here. So on the completion of the video, what we want it to do is fade to our main shot. So that's this shot here, that's where we want it to fade to. So I'm gonna click add to this. Now, another thing that we want it to do is turn on our microphones automatically. So I don't have my microphone as an input yet. So I'm gonna close this down and then I'm gonna go and add my microphone input. So we go to audio input here. And I need to select the UMC driver and then select the line in. Now, as you can see here, my microphone is now on. So my microphone is now in the production and it's green, meaning that it's on and it's coming through the production like so. Now, I also want to make sure that I add a audio delay to this. So because this is coming in via USB, usually an 80 millisecond delay is what we put on these microphones. All right, so let's go back to that intro video and let's go on completion. Let's switch on our audio. make sure that audio is on for Tim, audio in 1. Now, that's why it's ideal to name these when you add them, so I knew what it was. If you've got a lot of microphones, it's always handy to know whose is who. And then I'm going to click OK for that. So that's going to automatically turn on the audio when it's completed. And then what I need to do is also set on completion, I want to overlay in input 1 the title. So it's called banana titles. So that's what I want to do. And I want to add a delay to that. So I don't want that to happen as soon as it transitions. I'm going to add a 3-second delay to the title. Click add. Okay, so the triggers that we now have on this intro video, when I transition it into the program, it's going to start my recording. Then when it's finished, it's going to fade to my camera, I'm going to turn on my audio, and it's also going to overlay my title after 3 seconds. So that is now done. Go in here and change this. So I know that this is my title, Tim title, like so. And I just want to adjust my audio as well. So let's Tim mic. Now on this microphone, you could also set it to toggle as well, I suppose. So it just automatically toggles, but if it's on, it's off. You want to make sure it's on. Anyway, so let's do a quick run through. I'm going to turn off my audio here, and then we'll double check our recording settings. It's always a great idea to double check this at the start of the show to make sure that you have it all correct. Go through and let's just save this as August show. So it's always a good idea to set up your recording settings and any sort of additional settings that you might not think of at the start if you can, so you don't forget, because you don't want to do the wrong thing. And also make sure that you've got enough disk space locally when you are setting up your recording. So I'm going to click OK. Now I almost forgot, because I'm doing this tutorial at the same time as setting up a show, I forgot that I should be saving this. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to call this August 1 here. I'm going to save it. You should always save incrementally as you go along so that you don't forget and you don't wipe over stuff. Now, sometimes we do August 1, and then if I make a huge change or if I decide to go in a different direction that may or may not work, I might save that as August 2 and then make those changes, see if it works. If not, that way I can go back to August 1. So yeah, sometimes we end up with August 4, 5, 6, and 7 if I've tried to do some really ridiculous things in the production. Now I'm going to turn this audio off. So I'm going to fire up this intro video now. It'll turn on our record. It will do all of the other things as well. So let's fire that up. So now you can see that my audio is off. The recording has started. So when it finishes, it's going to turn on my audio. There it goes. And it's going to overlay my title after 3 seconds. There we go. So that's not me. I'm not Martin. So let's go ahead and change this to Tim. I don't know what kind of description I should have. So let's call this placeholder. Okay, so that's me done. I'm just going to turn this recording off now, so I'm not constantly chewing up my hard drive disk space. So that's my intro. I play the video, it turns on my microphone, starts the recording, and it overlays my title. So that's fully automated. I don't have to worry about any of that at the start. So that is the intro done, I believe. Let's just make sure that everything, yep, all of that is correct. So that's all set and good to go. Now, as I showed you before on that script that we had, there was certain videos that need to go next. Actually setup image, I believe, is the next thing. So I'm just going to right click and then move this up to say here. So now we have, I like to kind of put it in order like I said. So put this here. So this is the setup image. With the setup image, I don't really need to make any changes. Just change this to setup. Don't need to make any changes to the things here because it's not a video, it's not going to restart, that kind of thing. So that's my setup image. That's good to go. All right, next of all, I have my first video file that I need to play, which I believe is Ocean Talk. So let's put in Ocean Talk here. And what I want to do is go into the settings. I want it to automatically restart. I'm just going to change the name of it here. And then I'm going to go into the triggers. Now, for all of our intro videos, we like to set up where they're going to go. So when the video finishes playing, I don't have to worry about T-barring or transitioning. It's just automatically going to happen. So let's fade this to main shot. And then I'll go and when I add Martin's call, I'll change that to Martin's call. All right, so that's Ocean Talk. Then we want to go and we need to add the Facebook winners video here. Go into the settings. We'll just make sure that that's going to automatically restart. And go back to triggers. Now I can copy from other inputs. So if I just want to copy from the Ocean Talk video, which is what I want to do, I can just click OK. So that's going to, on completion, fade to the main shot. So that's what I want for that one. And I'm also going to then need to do the question and answers as well. So if I set this up to do Q&A, again, this one goes back to the main camera. So actually what I can do is I can set this to go to Martin's mailbag, which I believe is not set up yet. So I'm going to just add this. Let's just do this to main shot for now. And what I need to do is add Martin's mailbag at some point. So let's just also add, so this is a new picture that I made just before called Martin's call setup, just in case Martin wants to talk about his call and how we set it up on his computer and that sort of thing. So I have Facebook winners, and for an example, as you can see, the trigger automatically transitions that back to the main camera. So that's what we want for all of our video files. Now I did forget one thing, so I need to go and find, I think it was from last month, wasn't it? This is it here. Martin's mailbag.png. So this is the image that I use for my multi-view layers. I put Martin's call here and then I put the social title on the side here. So that's Martin's mailbag. So I should probably just rename this to mailbag, and we're going to be using that for his multi-layered shot. This feels like a good opportunity as ever to save it, so I'm going to click save, and yep, there we go. So that's saved. Now there's a lot of different stuff in this production today because we've got Martin's call coming in. I need to add that video call, so I'm going to go to add input here, and I'm going to go to video call. Now I'm going to make sure that it's, direct peer-to-peer connection. I'm sending him back 1080 because we both have fiber, so that should be fine. I'm also sending him the main output so he can watch the entire show so he knows what is going on. So that's set up. And then I'm going to click OK down the bottom. And so now we have this in here. Now I'm just going to rename this Martin call. So I've got Martin's call now. I'm going to move this up to the top, so I've got quick access to where I need it. So I've now moved Martin's call up to number 8 here. Now Martin is used in a number of different picture-in-pictures and that sort of thing. So I'm going to set up those picture-in-pictures now. I'm just going to double check the settings for it though. I don't want it to automatically mix the audio because I want to control his audio. So that's something to keep in mind with the call. So no matter what's in the output, I'm controlling what is heard on his audio. And now I'm going to set up some of the picture-in-pictures that I've created for Martin's call. So what I'm going to do now is create that by going and creating a new blank input so I can start layering it. So I've got this one here. Now what I want to do is layer it, go into the multi-view. So I can actually put this main shot, which has already my stuff on it, or I could layer it individually if I wanted to, depending on what you've got and how that will behave. Then what I want to do is add the picture-in-picture that I created in the start of the video down here. So now I can put Martin's video on top of that for his call. So we go to Martin call, and let's just drop this into the section up here, like so. And so now we've got a shot where we've got Martin's call available to us as a picture-in-picture. Now I'm going to name this. I'm going to call this call hip. And I'm going to move this up to the top. Okay, so now I have my main shot, I have my call picture-in-picture, and I have Martin's call as well. So this is what that's going to look like. Now I should probably go ahead and change his name on this title. So actually I'll just say this is where he is. Martin's currently in Whoop Whoop. And that's not Whoop Whoop for Americans, that's Whoop Whoop. And so that is that picture-in-picture done. Now I also had to add him to Martin's mailbag here. So I'm just going to add this to this background image because I'm not using it for anything else. So I'm just going to chuck Martin's call on top of this as a layer. And I'm just going to drop that in like so. So that's it for the mailbag. I just want to move this up to the top as well. So I've got close access to it as the main shots that I might use, but I'm going to shortcut all of these up so I don't have to worry about too much where it is in the interface. All right, so that is the mailbag. I've got the picture-in-picture mailbag. I also need to add Martin's own title. So I'm going to add Martin a title as well so that he's got a thing. Yep, that's what it is, Martin CEO. That's fine, and we'll rename this Martin title. So now we've got Martin's title, I've got a title, we have the mailbag in here. Double check that's all working. So this is Martin's mailbag. And then if I overlay the social title, it will work like so. And I think that's about it for the actual assets in the show and in the production. I do need to also edit the poll for tomorrow, but I will do that later on because the poll results aren't officially in technically yet. So all of that is done. So I think that's about everything for all of the actual assets. Now I need to worry about going and changing the shortcuts and adding activators to my production to make the whole thing a lot easier. Now, as you saw before in the setup image, I do have the X keys 1, 2, 4 T-bar. So I've got this thing right here with all of the stuff set up, ready to go, all the buttons set up. Now there's a lot of different ways to configure this. This is how I configure it. I have a small row up the top for a couple of cameras or shots. I have titles, I have videos down here, and then I have some other things as well, audio buttons, sound effects, and I have little lights to let me know if I'm streaming and recording, and also the activators. So this is not set up for activators yet. I'll have to reset all of this to get that set up. So what I want to do is go into settings up the top corner here and then go to shortcuts. Then I can click add to create a new shortcut. Then what I want to do is go to find. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to press this top button here. Now what I like to do is I like to hold it down. So when I push it, I know it's going to be fired off and not when I lift it. So as you can see, there's different velocities here. So I like to hold it down. All right, so now I've got that one on like so. I can just set a function for it. So what I want to do for that button is set a cut transition to my main shot. Then I can give it a title down the bottom if I want to. We don't usually do that, but you can create a title so you know which one's which. And down the bottom, I like to say this is a local shortcut. Obviously, we use this computer in our studios for a lot of different things. So sometimes it's nice to have everything local so it's all specific, not changing global shortcuts and that sort of thing. So I just like to keep this local to this particular August 1 preset. And then I'm going to click OK down the bottom. So now, simple as that, I've got a shortcut ready to go for my camera. It's just going to switch to the main camera, as you can see. So I have a lot of different shortcuts that I need to set up, from switching to images, video files, turning on and off audio and that sort of thing. So if I come across anything exciting, I'll let you know, but I'm going to go through and program all of these different things. Now you can also clone them as well. So if I hit clone here, it makes it a few clicks shorter. When I edit it, I can then press the different button, and then I can go and I don't have to worry about the function because it's the same. And then I can switch it to this call picture in picture. So that's something that you can do to make it a little bit easier if you want to clone it and then just make a couple of changes to it. So I'm going to go through all of these shortcuts and set up my X keys right now. Now for things like titles, you want to use the overlay section, obviously, instead of like the transitions or anything else. So I'm going to put my title in overlay position 1. Where's Tim title? And the same for Martin. I'm going to put his one in overlay input 1 as well when he needs to use it, like so. So those are my titles done. And then on my video files, I just need to go and do the same thing as I did before with the cameras. Where's my outro video gone? There it is. Okay, so now I'm up to my audio, so I'm going to hold down my Tim mic button. Then for the audio, what I'm going to do is toggle it. So I'm going to have audio on, off when I press that button. Then I'm going to go down to Tim mic and I'm going to set that up. Now, one of the things that I could have mentioned is that we had assigned shortcuts to input numbers. So if things move around, it's always assigned to whatever number that was. I don't like doing it that way. That's just me personally, but it's up to you whether you want to assign shortcuts based on input numbers as opposed to the actual input itself. So that's that. And what I want to do is also add one for Martin as well. So I'm going to clone this. I'm going to edit it. And then what I'm going to do is hold down mic for Martin's. And then I need to actually select his call audio. So Martin call as opposed to microphone because he doesn't have one. So I think that's about it for that production. So just as a quick rundown, we've got cuts to the main shot, picture in picture, Martin's, what's that one? Is that right? The Martin's mailbag, Martin's call. So I need to change those around. So this one, Martin's call should be this one here. And then the mailbag should be this one here. All right, cool. So that's why you test, and test again. All right, so the next one we have title. Yep, so that's Martin's, that's my title there. And then we've got Martin's title. Then I have the Ocean Talk video, Facebook winners, Q&A, the outro. For some reason, it's an old video. The setup image, and what else do we need? Microphones on and off. Like so, as you can see, microphones are going on and off. So those are the shortcuts that we've got set up. And one last one that I need to do is something. I forgot what it was. Social titles. So to program a button for social. So it's gonna overlay this in, what are we using? Channel 4. And let's select the social title, which is Martin's mailbag, is it? Yes, Martin's mailbag.gt zip. Click OK and click OK. So let's switch back to the camera. Actually switch to Martin's mailbag, which is this one here, correct? And then social title. So that's all sorted. That's all of my shortcuts. Hopefully all working. That's the plan. They're all working as they should be. So let's turn this off. That's done. So that's all my shortcuts, I believe. So fingers crossed. So now I'm going to go through and set up activators. So activators are the little lights that you can have on X keys and MIDI and all that kind of stuff. So all these little keys have lights under them. So we can set these off based on what's happening. So first of all you need to do is set this. This is a 124 T-bar. So I know how it all works. So note 0 to 127, I believe, has to be set default, and we want the type to be off. So we want all the lights to be off when it's in its default state. So let's just save this as a local preset. There we go. All the lights are off. No more lights. Thanks for coming. Now I need to assign the activators to an actual event. So when I press this button up the top here for my camera, I want the little light to go on above it. So what I'm going to do is go to add. I'm going to find it. Now because I'm actually pressing the button below it, I need to make a slight adjustment to the note because it's actually the 0. So it's the one above it as opposed to the one below it because I want the light to be on above it. Makes it a little bit easier. I think they're called like pipe blockers or something, or light pipe blockers. Someone from X Keys, if you're watching this, if you're still watching this, feel free to chime in and leave us a lovely comment letting us know exactly what it's called. So I want to set up an event. So I want to choose my input. So this is my main shot. I want to select main shot, so that when it's being in use with the program output here, the little light is going to turn on. Because I've got an X keys, I need to select X keys. I'm going to select this red one here because I've got the little light to set up. All right, so here's a quick demo, so hopefully you can see this. So you can see the little light there. My main shot is in the program output. And when I press this one, it's going to switch to Martin's mailbag, and the light goes off, as you can see. On, off, on, off. All right, so that is basically how the activators work, and I can go through and set that up for a whole lot of different things. I'm not going to bore you with setting these up. I'm just going to go through and do that now. Now, as you can see here, I also have a row for numbers of videos. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. So with these ones, because you can actually see through them, I don't know whether you can actually see that there, but you can see through the lights. And so you're able to set the activator to the actual key. So you can see it underneath it. It obviously works a lot better when you're not under bright lights like this, but you can see it a little bit. So I'm just going to set that activator up. So what I'm going to do is click add, find it, and I don't need to make adjustments to the note because it's under the actual key that I'm using. So the event will be the input, and it is the Ocean Talk video, like so. And I'm going to make this blue. All right, so now that when that's video in there, I'm going to set this for the other ones as well. Should have worn my glasses. This wasn't a good idea to do this without my glasses. So now when I use this video, probably can't see that. It's blue underneath it. And that one's blue underneath that one too. That's where you can set it up to the see-through light thing. So if you've got a MIDI device and the button you're pressing is also lighting up, that's what you need to do. Just press the button and you can assign an activator to it. And I'm also going to set up it for my audio now as well. So if you've got an audio input that you want to have an activator for, you'll need to set it to audio input, like so. So then I'm going to select Tim Mic. All right, so now you can see that my audio, Martin's audio, and my audio are both on Martin's call here. As you can see the audio here. So when I press the shortcut, it turns it off, and the little light goes off underneath it as well. That's cool to let you know whether your mic's on as a really quick indicator if you look down and you can see it. Now also I'm going to set up, you can see here I've got a little stream and record button here. I don't actually use those to start the streaming and the recording. I use them as activators to let me know that they're on. So I'm going to go into settings, activators again, and I'm going to add these buttons. These are the clear buttons so you can see through them so I don't have to worry about changing the note. And then I'm just going to have recording on them. So that's streaming. I keep forgetting to do this. Actually, let's make it flash a red blinking for that one. And then click OK. So now when I'm recording, you can see that it's now flashing red to let me know that I'm currently recording. Now I haven't set up a shortcut for those, but I'm not going to bother right now. So I've just about finished editing these videos and I've realized that I made a mistake on the activators. So in the activators here, what I've done is I haven't set these to not be assigned to an input number. So that I'm going to turn that off because if I move things around, then the activators will change. So I want them to be activating with the actual input, not the input number. So these sort of things, these won't matter, but things like inputs and stuff that I move around, that's going to matter. So things like this title here, I want to make sure that I unassign this, and I think I may have, I've finished that one as well. So it's a little bit different to the shortcuts. It's flipped by default because most people use activators in a specific set. Again, I don't do it that way. I set up mine to be hooked up to the actual input. So that's why I've turned those off now. So now, even if I move things around, it's going to follow that particular input. Cool. So I think that's about it for setting up the production. I've got all of my assets in there. I've got all the inputs. I've got my shortcuts. I've got my activators. My microphone audio is in there. It's delayed. I'm not sure where there's anything else that I really need. Actually, probably the poll title. It's probably the one thing that I haven't organized. I need to set up a shortcut for that poll title on one of these other titles here. So I'm going to, let's just do it right down the bottom. Let's select this one and let's overlay on input 3, the poll. There we go. And okay, so now that will pop up. All right, so I think that's about it for all the shortcuts that I can remember. Again, I'm going to go through, I'll upload our script to the teleprompters and I'll go through and sort all this out. I'll also advise Martin about the password so he can join in the call and we can double check to make sure that's all working. Now, let me just go through and double check. Outro video also should have some triggers on it. So transition in, let's just go ahead and turn all the audio off. for my mic and Martin's mic. Martin Call. So if I select it, I can make a change to one thing and then click add, or if I wanted to edit it, I would select it, change, and then click edit. So that is on transition in, they both turn off. And I also want to change the recording, so stop recording as well at the end of this video. Sorry, at the end of the video, correct. That's what I want. I'm talking to myself, I'm starting to go crazy. So on completion of the outro video, it's going to stop my recording. So let's add that one too. So on transition in, audio off, Martin's audio off, but it should already be off. And then on completion, stop recording for it. Okay, so that should be it. I'm gonna have to do a full run through to work out whether I have done everything correctly. So hopefully that is all good. Now I need to go and work out who's gonna win this Facebook competition. Yes, all right, till later. On the next episode of the vMix Funtime live show behind the scenes. Stuff this. You'll see me squinting through this whole video and just go, is he supposed to be wearing glasses? Yes. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Well, there it is. I'm recording this. I'm trying to make a giant tutorial on how the vMix Funtime live show works. And it's the most boring thing anybody has ever made.